As I mentioned yesterday, that at the age of 24, in the city of Fez, the Rambam wrote a letter, Igeras Hashmat, coming to the defense of those Jewish people, unfortunate Jewish people who openly professed belief in Muhammad because of the threat of their lives. So throughout the world, this particular letter was recognized as a beacon of light and hope for those who waited faithfully to return to Judaism. And with this letter, the youthful Maimonides, as I said, at the age of 24, began to emerge as the great leader of the Jewish people of the day, until today for that matter, and a true descendant of the family of King David, who cared for the oppressed of his people and courageously dedicated himself to help them, which was also the case later on in Yemen, where there was a need to encourage the Jews in Yemen. And then the Yemenite Jews actually in Kaddish said, considering Maimon, considering the Rambam as the presumed Mashiach of the day. So this letter also brought the Maimonides into the public eye of the non-Jewish circles. And in fact, he was accused of condemning Islam. There's a beautiful story, a traditional story in the city of Fez concerning this time, to which even the gates of the city bears witness. And let me share with you the story. It is said that one day the Rambam found himself being pursued by a band of bloodthirsty Muslims. He fled, but to no avail. As he reached the first gate of the city, they just about seized him, and God forbid wanted to kill him. In desperation, he uttered the holy name of God, as we later found out that Rambam was also a great Kabbalist. And suddenly, out of nowhere, a lion appeared and chased away his pursuers. But then, once the lion disappeared, they renewed the chase. At a second gate, he again uttered the name of God. And then, many of the band fell in chains that pinned them to the earth. By the third gate, Rambam pronounced the name again, and a pillar of fire separated him from the would-be assassins. And to this day, these gates are called the Lion's Gate, the Gate of Chains, and the Gate of Fire. But obviously, after such a situation, the Rambam couldn't stay any longer in Morocco. And together with his family, he had to set out once again. Long journey, eventually ended up in Egypt, having been in Israel first, and he settled in the city of Fastad. Here at last, he was able to find freedom to live as a Jew. And in fact, in Fastad, he stayed till the end of his days. And upon his passing, whole story how a camel brought him to Tveria, where he was eventually buried. But let's go back. As his father has been the Jewish Rav, the judge Dayan of Cordova, Maimonides became the chief rabbi of Fastad and became the spiritual leader. He earned his livelihood all his time as a doctor. The reason because Rambam is of the opinion that no one is permitted to make a living from teaching Torah. So he had to become a doctor after his brother David passed away, who they had an agreement. David was a jeweler merchant, and unfortunately, upon one of his voyages, the boat sank. So David had an arrangement with the Rambam that he would provide him his financial needs, and Rambam will take care of his family to raise them and educate them. But unfortunately, when David passed away, it became Rambam's responsibility to find a livelihood for his own family and for his brother's family. And that's when he started practicing medicine and actually became the physician of the Sultan himself. It is impossible to imagine how Judaism could ever have survived without the Mishnah Torah, the main book of the Rambam. The greatest work of the Rambam, who authored many books, was the Mishnah Torah, which he composed over an intense 10-year period. Tradition has it that he actually did it when he was fleeing from one place to the other. And to the present day, it stands as a sentinel of fire in the dark night of our exile. This monumental work brings together the whole of Jewish thought, the whole of Jewish teaching, from Torah Shebal Peh to Torah Shebeksav. And in fact, as the Rebbe has established, that every day we should study 3 chapters, or 1 chapter, or a mitzvah corresponding to the chapters of the day. And as it says, that by studying the Rambam, the whole Torah, we hasten the coming of Mashiach. And in fact, how appropriate it's written on the tomb of Moshe, of the Rambam. Moshe ad Moshe lekom Moshe. From Moshe Rabbeinu until Moshe ben Maimon, there was none like them. We hope to see him now with Mashiach.